Another mainstream media newspaper trying to discredit the far-right conservative people, more right-leaning people like myself. Today, this is from the Irish Times, of course, the Irish Times, the woke mainstream media, I like to call it. It says here, how far-right claims of protecting women justify abuse of immigrants. Have you ever heard such a misleading title? Most far-right groups subscribe to an ideology propagating a patriarchal view of women's role in society, says expert. Let's listen to what the expert says. So the expert today is Sorcha Pollack. The text on the spoiled presidential ballot paper was clearly written in black marker. My child matters, our child matter, we are not safe, Irish people matter. Another message followed, she was only 10. Which of course references the alleged sexual assault. It's not alleged, it actually happened. A 26-year-old resident of an IPAS center who shouldn't have been here. He was here for 6 years illegally, and he had a deportation order 8 months prior, stayed here. So a complete failure of the state. If he was deported, this sexual assault, which is a brutal, I can't even say the word, a brutal sexual assault of this 10-year-old girl in the foyer, in the entrance of the City West Hotel that was purchased by the government at 148 million. He shouldn't have been here, guys, okay? These words were written on dozens of spoiled ballot papers in the presidential election, and for good reason. This is our concerns as Irish people, okay? It's not far right to be concerned about young 10-year-old girls, and they don't even say her age, okay? The 26-year-old resident of a young girl, no, she was 10 years old. She was 10 years old, and this man brutally assaulted her. You understand, guys? This is something that you should get fired up about. You should be angry about. This is not on. This should not be happening in a society in Ireland in 2025. We are civilized people. These people coming over are not civilized, okay? So we have right to be angry about these illegal immigrants. These are illegal immigrants, okay? This isn't some guy coming from the Philippines to do heart surgery and brain surgery, okay? This isn't like some guy coming over and they're here working legally and they go through the process and there's a few people. This is 100% mass invasion of illegal military-aged migrant men, okay? That's why we're concerned. The alleged attack, again with the alleged, it actually took place at the Garter Lane in Saget on October 20th and was followed by 2 nights of violent protests outside City West Hotel. It actually happened in the foyer, in the entrance of the City West Hotel, in broad daylight, in the middle of the flipping day, okay, where there's tons of CCTV cameras, so there's nothing alleged about it. It's captured probably on CCTV because the IPAS centres in Ireland, the International Protection of Asylum Seekers centres in Ireland, they are all extremely heavily monitored. They have CCTV, they have security, tons of, they have the Gardaí watching. So this alleged is nonsense. Other spoiled votes on the ballot reference the murder of Aisling Murphy by Joseph Pushkin in 2022, a Roma gypsy who was here for 10 years. He was here legally, which again, these people should all be kicked out of the country because he was here legally, but from Romania, from Bulgaria, a Roma gypsy, apparently from Slovakia, but really he was a Roma gypsy. But he was here for 10 years. He never worked a job a day in his life for 10 years, was here on benefits, and he had free accommodation for 10 years. How that is allowed is disgusting. But they wrote on the spoiled votes, they said she went for a run. A common theme emerged on these unusual ballots. Women and children are at risk in Ireland. They absolutely are. Aisling Murphy was a 23-year-old girl who was working as I believe like a nursery teacher, a primary school teacher, and she was killed by a psychopath, okay? Now for me, if that happened, I would completely overhaul the system of the country. Like if I was in charge of Ireland, I would immediately allow pepper spray, tasers, probably handguns for people in the country that are citizens, because if this psychopath, Joseph Pushkin, tried to kill her, which he stabbed her 11 times in the neck, then she would be able to defend herself with pepper spray, a taser, something like that. But this is it, guys. Women and children are vulnerable in this country. Absolutely. Even men. You know, I pretend like, oh, I'm a big guy, I can handle myself. No, most men cannot handle themselves. Okay, most men don't know how to fight. They've never done martial arts. They don't train. They don't have good cardio. How are you going to defend yourself if 2 guys come at you with knives? You're going to die. Yeah, and this is what's happening. We are being killed en masse in this country by random people from God knows where. It says in this stupid left-wing article, they claim the safety of vulnerable women and children is threatened by foreign nationals, it is, who are not white, speak foreign languages and practice different religions. It is not new. Yeah, that's absolutely correct. That's absolutely what's happening. How could you argue differently? It's 100% happening. However, claims that the safety has been compromised by a recent rise in immigration has become the rallying cry for far-right groups and used to justify their increasingly violent pushback against foreign nationals and asylum seekers. This nonsense, guys. Speaking in September at the Unite the Kingdom rally in London, British far-right figure Tommy Robinson, whose real name is Stephen, who doesn't matter about his real name. Why do they have to give his real name? It doesn't even matter, guys. Told tens of thousands of cheering supporters, our women, our daughters are scared to walk the streets. It's true. I talked to tons of people, that are scared to walk the streets. In Ireland, women are even afraid to take taxis now. A taxi used to be this place where you could seek comfort and you get driven straight to your door and you can run into your house and be safe, okay, from the streets of the mean streets of Dublin and Ireland, these dangerous streets, let's say, which isn't dangerous, but now they are. It's even comical to think that the streets and the roads are dangerous in Ireland, but now they are, because we have tons of these taxi drivers that are getting sexual assault charges. We have all this crazy, getting assaults. We have anecdotal claims from women on TikTok in Ireland saying, oh yeah, the taxi drivers are threatening us, they're being weird to us. It's crazy stuff. His words echo the language of prominent political figures such as Reform's Nigel Farage, Donald Trump, and Viktor Orban, a narrative which is amplified by Irish far-right agitators. Nigel Farage is a legend, Donald Trump is a legend, and Viktor Orban is an absolute legend, okay? So these three people are great people. Anupaka Anchutan is no stranger to the influence of anti-immigration social media posts. In August, the Indian nurse, who has lived and worked in Ireland for 8 years, spoke publicly about how her 6-year-old Irish-born daughter was allegedly attacked, punched in the face, and hit with a wheel of a bike by a group of boys about twice her age. That's absolutely disgusting. And like I said before, we're not talking about an Indian nurse who obviously here, beautiful family, they look good, they're professional. She's a nurse, which is a very highly educated job. Like, to be a nurse is a tough job. It's a professional gig. The truth behind this, we don't know if they attacked her daughter for being racist. We don't know that for certain. We don't know. But it's disgusting to see Indian people that are coming here, obviously that work in IT, that work in flipping, nurses. These are professional people. We're not talking about these people. We're talking about Albanians, Roma gypsies that are coming here. They're gang members. They're goddamn Roma gypsies that don't work, that don't help the nation. This woman pays taxes. She's worked here for 8 years. She's a professional. No one cares about her. This attack obviously is disgusting, okay? They call her names, okay? Go back to India, that kind of stuff. Obviously, that's not good, guys, and you shouldn't be doing that. The people on the left claim that right-wing people are doing this. That's not always the case, guys. A lot of the times, these far-right attacks aren't really far-right attacks. They're from, like, the youth in Dublin. These youth in Dublin, these little kids, these teenagers, their parents are in jail, their mums are crazy on drugs. They're scumbags, guys. They have no future, so they're obviously going to commit heavy crimes. They're going to commit heinous crimes. The history of weaponizing the rights of women and children for personal gain dates back hundreds of years, even to colonial times, says Dr. James Carr of the University of Limerick. Oh, here we go. The universities in Ireland are just woke cesspits, guys, honestly. There's always been a claim of liberating, protecting, and saving people, and the rights of women and children speaks to people's very basic fears around the welfare of those deemed vulnerable in society, so can easily be deployed. It's dog whistle racism. It's unfounded, but it speaks to real fears of people about their loved ones, their children, sisters, mothers, and wives. The public should understand that most of these far-right groups subscribe to an ideology which propagates a traditional patriarchal view of women's role in society. Oh, jeez. That's not always the case, guys. A lot of people on the right don't mind, if women work. Like, that's oh, I'm conservative, so I don't want my woman to work. Like, what? Who's saying that on the right wing in 2025? Like, nobody's even saying that. No one's even saying this. This is just so stupid. Here we go. We're getting to the racism here. Look. They view women in context of the Great Replacement Theory, which calls for more white women to have more white babies. I mean, here's the thing about that. Like, you obviously want to be proud of your people. It's not weird to say that you want to see your own people do well. Everybody in Africa, I've talked to lots of Africans, lots of Middle Eastern men. They all tell me, Chris, I want my race to do amazing. Like nobody is going to be saying, oh, I don't want... Imagine if you said, I don't want white people to do well. Imagine me coming on camera and I said, guys, yeah, honestly, I don't want white people to do well. Like, it's completely ridiculous, guys. Like, that's just is ridiculous sounding. You obviously want to see everyone do well. I want to see black people do well. I want to see brown people, Indians do well. I want to see everybody do well. But Ireland should be helping its own people first. And also, you have an affinity towards your own kind of people. Let's be honest, guys. I don't have an affinity for people in Japan. I just don't. I don't have an affinity for Chinese people. Unfortunately, I like people from Japan. I like people from all different countries. But the people that you really want to see well, you kind of, when I see a guy wearing like a GA jersey in the gym, I'm like, oh, that's cool. That's an Irish guy. That's a personal Irish guy. I want to see that guy do really well. You just do, guys. Black people want to see their people do well. Arabic people want to see their people do well. Like, everybody wants to see their own people do well. Not more so than everybody else, but maybe a tiny, like a 1%. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, I don't care about every other race. I just want white people to do well. Like, it's just, that doesn't cross my mind. And neither does it cross the mind of anybody else that's on the right. Honestly, guys, this is basic stupidity right here. This is a racist and patriarchal vision of society where sexual violence and violence among children is framed as something that only happens at the hands of brown or black men. It doesn't, guys. Violence happens in Ireland by all different races, but per capita, obviously a lot of violence happens from immigrants. Like, that just is the case, guys. Like people that want to say that's not the case are idiots, guys. They're denying statistics, guys. Everybody commits crime, for sure. But per capita, it's very, very high with illegal immigrants. For sure, guys. Albania, Roman Gypsy, people that shouldn't be in the country. Like, plain and simple, guys. If you're not working in Ireland, why the hell are you here? like this I-pass asylum seeker bullshit is bullshit, guys. You shouldn't even be in the goddamn country. The rest of this article basically just talks about anecdotal claims of people saying that, oh yeah, like, I've had massive abuse in myself in the past. I've had abuse by random people, white people, Irish people hate me. But in reality, guys, that's just criminal gangs and little teenagers that hate on foreigners. Like, nobody's talking about that. You know, this is just completely ridiculous. They're actually dividing people more, guys. The right, the conservative, we bring people together. The left wing, the liberal, the inclusive people, they're the most racist. They hate everybody, guys. They drive people apart. They hate people on the right. So moving swiftly on from that, the next news story is farmer Michael Gain was murdered in Kerry last April. His body chopped up into little pieces with a large knife and put in a slurry tank, which is basically pig feces and horse feces, cow feces, which was then spread across his field, and nobody was charged. The person who did this is still walking the streets of Ireland. The person that actually killed him is still alive walking around. So now we have literal killers on the loose in Ireland. Look at this, guys. It says, Gardaí investigating the murder of the Kerry farmer Michael Gain are working on the assumption he was killed with a sword-type weapon, like a machete, a flippin' machete, that they use in the flippin' Congo to chop people's arms off, rather than a chainsaw. So how they came to that conclusion, the sources say, all the forensic indications point to the death and dismemberment being the result of a blade rather than chainsaw injuries. That's disgusting, guys. Detectives have been exploring the theory that the 56-year-old was dismembered with a chainsaw, with 3 seized from his farm after his disappearance. However, it's understood that the examination of his body remains intact of a non-chainsaw type blade. Gardaí do not believe at this stage the chainsaw was used in this case. Some form of large knife, blade, or sword is what had been indicated to be used. There is an issue with Gardaí do not have in their possession the blade type implement used for this murder. So they don't have the murder weapon. Okay, this is obviously one of the most notorious murders of the last few years, guys. I reported on this during the summer. It says Michael Gain's murder happened on his farm, which is 1,000 acres of land. So rich man. This is a rich man, guys. And a significant amount of that area is marsh and swampland. So obviously they have to search that area for the weapon. Mr. Gain was last seen in Kenmare on the Thursday, March 20th, and was reported missing the following day. His bronze Toyota RAV4 was found in his farmyard of the N71 on Carrick East, and his wallet and his phone inside. On April 29th, Mr. Gain's disappearance was upgraded by Gardaí from a missing persons case to a homicide investigation. Human remains were discovered on his farm on May 16th, while one of his nephews and neighbours was spreading slurry on the fields. The farm was sealed off and declared a crime scene. Absolutely disgusting. So I mean, how traumatized are his nephews and neighbor? They were spreading slurry on his field to help him out, and then they had body parts come out of the slurry tank. I mean, there's nothing more horrendous than that, guys. More human remains were later found in the slurry spreader and in a slurry tank on the farm in the following days. Gardaí later confirmed DNA tests proved the remains of those of Mr. Gain. Jesus, unbelievable. So here we have the alleged killer. A specialist examination of the slurry tank on Mr. Gaines' hillside farmyard days after he was disappeared did not uncover his dismembered remains. Questions have been since asked as how they went undetected by Gardaí. So they just found DNA. They didn't find like loads of body parts and stuff. So it's just, that is disgusting, guys. However, sources have said Mr. Gaines' remains have been dismembered to such an extent the small pieces of body somehow went unnoticed during a specialist search by Gardaí and members of the fire services, the Kerry County Fire Services, on March 24th. So obviously they chopped up his body very, very small into the slurry tank. I mean, just rotten stuff, guys. On May 18th, Michael Keeley, how the hell did you say that name, guys? From Maine in the USA, was arrested over the murder. Now, for those who don't understand, guys, Maine is the safest state in the whole of the USA. There's no mass shootings ever. I think they had the first mass shooting ever there like a few months ago or a year ago. Maine is beautiful. I was actually driving by Maine while I was in Canada. Beautiful, mostly woodland area. Very actually similar to Kerry. So this guy, Michael Kelly, actually would feel very at home in Kerry because Maine is very much like that. Maine has the same sort of landscape as Kerry, honestly. It says he was questioned for 24 hours before being released without charge. He has denied any knowledge or involvement in the murder to Gardaí, as well as in a series of media interviews. I personally think he's innocent. I think this guy is innocent now. I said before I think he was guilty or whatever, but I don't think he's guilty, guys. Just looking at this guy, I mean, it doesn't seem to me that he has sort of rage inside him. I think he was like in the Marines or something. He was in the Army as well, the US Army. So it just seems like kind of like a regular guy. But he probably knows more than he's letting on. I think that a lot of these guys, these suspects, they probably know more than they're letting on, you know. And he probably knew what actually happened to him, whether or not some gangland got involved with him. And he said it himself. Some gang maybe got involved with him or whatever. Who the hell knows? Mr. Kelly had outlined how he was living and working on Mr. Gaines' farm at the time of his killing. A member of Mr. Kelly living in the US previously told the newspaper, "The Michael I knew was not capable of murder, but we haven't spoken in years." They described him as a gentle lion, and they said he's been highly intelligent and always generous with people in need. Separately, court documents obtained regarding a case in the USA several years ago detailed how a judge said Mr. Kelly has questionable ability to determine fact from fiction. Oh, so a judge in the US says that he's schizophrenic and crazy. Okay, that kind of changes the whole narrative, guys. Maybe he did kill him. I mean, who the hell knows? I mean, this is the thing about these murder cases, like, we have a guy now walking around that has killed this guy with a sword type weapon where he chopped him up to little pieces like a cow, like a butchered cow. Disgusting. We have psychopaths among us that the Irish government doesn't care about, and they're not giving all their resources into this. Disgusting case. Hopefully they catch this guy. This was just an update of the actual murder case because I reacted to it a year ago and I thought it was one of the most fascinating things I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, I couldn't believe that a guy from Kerry gets killed like this. I mean, it's just disgusting. It's just disgusting stuff. But let me know your thoughts. If you guys have any inside information into what happened here, leave it in the comment section down below or message me on Instagram. I love you all. If you want to support me, hit the join link underneath the video. Become a member for just €3 per month. It can help support me push back against the woke mainstream media, because the woke mainstream media is dead. They're always creating narratives to hate on the far right. The far right are the worst people in the world. The right wing are crazy. Okay, that we obviously know is not true. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you all in the next one, lads. Peace.